refresh it. Then I can kill the volume on the YouTube and listen on the StreamYard and still be able to moderate the chat.
Hi, everyone. This is Michael Condon representing Toomedtoo. We've got your fix. And today we are going to be talking about Resistance Reborn by Rebecca Roanhorse. And I have a couple special people here with me today. One is a regular recurring guest, and the other one had to hop a flight across the pond to be here with us. So we have Johny Orme. Okay, after I just said how to pronounce it, Johny Orme and Rural Farmboy.
Here we go. Chris King, yes. I went and tagged a bunch of other friends, so we'll see. Some folks I ain't tagged before, so we'll see who shows up here.
Well, it's impromptu kind of thing. It's something that
Absolutely.
Johny and I have been talking about for a little while, but with trying to get set times with lives and lives and wives.
Trying to read the book.
Read the book. That was a big thing too. Well, I'm one of those psychos. I had it finished on the first day. But
I got it. I got it sent to me, and it didn't arrive till a week, like a few days after it got released. So I was like really behind, and then as it always happens, life got in the way. So it took me a bit longer than I wanted.
Okay. So, say hi to everybody. Thank you for joining us. We got Charlie and Chris and Brick from Brick Studios. Pete's here from Jan's Transmissions. Mr. Rez is here. So we got a couple people to maybe pick our brain while we're talking. So, just starting off, if anyone hasn't read this book, it's going along with, I highly recommend it. The last few books that have come out, we're going to exclude, well, it's not excluding the Force Collector, because we haven't even got up to that one yet, even though it's been out I finished it the first day again, but most people aren't crazy like me and don't have that chance or opportunity to, we'll just spend 14 hours taking care of it. But this is the second to last book up into The Rise of Skywalker. And before we really get into talking about it, everyone should read it, whether it is actually reading or reading with your ears, reading with your fingers, however it is that you do it. This book, I won't say it's one of the most prolific books that we've had, because it's just different, but it ties everything in so well together.
Very much so. It's
definitely.
What I'm thinking is it's starting to do what the Rise of Skywalker is going to go and finish up. It started tying stuff up at the beginning, and then when we come on later on in a few weeks and go see that story, it's going to tie up the back end of it, is my guess.
I think, I don't often say this about the Star Wars books. I enjoyed most of them, but most of them you can just kind of like read them and move on. There's like a handful of them that I would class as required reading, and this is actually now top of the list for that, as well as Spark of Resistance and Allegiance from Marvel, because the three of those just make a fantastic story arc for the main characters, that just really kind of ties it all in for this kind of period. And it just makes me more excited for Rise of Skywalker, really.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm behind on, horribly behind, is the comics. I was really never into the comics, and
two of us.
I decided I was going to get into them. And the guys from Broaxium set me up a list of what I should read first and what I should do, because, like I always say, it's when somebody says, I want to start reading the canon books, I haven't read a canon book, which one should I read? Well, I can't just pick a book and say it's the best one, in my opinion, because it all depends on what a person likes or what they're into. If they're into politics, or if they're into mysticism or things like that, or going to be what I choose a book for them to start off with, and that's kind of what they did with the comics. And I got whatever it is off of Amazon, their unlimited comic subscription system, and just have it sitting there. And I have I think about 7,000 pages worth of comics in my library right now. That I just went through and I was like, oh, I want this collection, and this collection, and this, and this, and this, because what they set me up with, and I was like, oh, this sounds good in the Darth Maul and whatever it is. So I just need a little bit of time to get caught up on those, which will happen eventually. But that was a few of the things. I've listened to the people that do podcasts, or like I said, Broaxium gives you a little synopsis or review of what each one of the comics when they come out every Wednesday, what they're about, so that if you don't read them, you still have the bullet points so that you know enough, maybe not every detail, but enough that you can follow along with it.
I jump in and out of the comics. I've been picking them up on is it Kindle Unlimited recently, but I am so behind. But I was like, you know what, Allegiance, everyone was talking about it in the run up, so I was like, you know what, I've got to pick that one up. So that was like one of my weekly buys, and I think the next one I'll dive into is that Rise of Kylo Ren.
Yeah, the last one I actually picked up, well, the first one I've bought in years since Disney took over, was the one where Toomedtoo gets killed. So I had to buy my book where my namesake gets killed saving C-3PO.
Your namesake also happens to be a favorite of one Mr. Dominic Pace, as we found out.
Yes. Yeah, when I was doing my interview, he brought that up, and I said, "Hang on a second," and I went and grabbed him off the shelf, and I said, "There you go. There's, that's what it's," and told him a little story about what it was named after. That interview is still up and coming. I just need to do some editing on it before I feel all right putting it out, because being my first live interview, I'd also interviewed George Mann that morning, but he was my first kind of real live interview where it was more of a chat with friends than interviewing someone with questions to ask about a book. So there's a little bit more tangents and just things that I like to go off on my tangents, and I usually need someone to reel me in, and he doesn't know me well enough to say, "Come on, bring it back." So
let's see. Okay, Johnny, you've been keeping up with the comics storyline more than Michael and myself, if I'm following that right. You keeping up with the comics end of the story that's taking us toward the end, Mr. Orme?
Sorry, what was that? Oh, went a bit fuzzy.
You've been keeping up with the comics pretty well. And
Bits and pieces. I listen to enough podcasts to keep up with it.
Okay, then we all three do it about the same, because Chris King in the chat's asking, what about the Resistance one-shots? Does he need to make sure he reads those? Anybody speak to that?
I can't, really speak to anything when it comes to comics. Just what people that are reading the comics. There hasn't been one of this new set recently, like going into the Rise of Skywalker, that people haven't liked, or that people have said pass on it, as far as I know. So, there may be some that are better than others, but I believe that they've all been advisable to read or to pick up. But
let's see, Johnny, can you see the live chat?
Yeah, I'm jumping in and out.
Okay, I just saw it because who was it? I think it was Pete agreeing with you about the allegiance line follows alongside the book.
Oh yeah, and I think Pete Spark Resistance as well, because if you put the three, like I said earlier, you put the three together, and you've got this fantastic story arc. It really, especially for Ray, because I mean she's the main focus in all three really, and her kind of I think it's leading into where we're going to see her in the trailer. In the trailers where she's like training really antsy. I think everything we've got so far is building towards that, and I think that's pretty cool.
See, where I liked this book is it starts off and it gives you a little bit of background and building off of other books that if you read Aftermath or that series by Chuck Wendig, there's little bits and pieces, whether it's the main characters of the books or Phantom Squadron, that was just kind of not really delved too much into in detail, but it starts bringing together, some people and giving answers to why when in The Last Jedi they called for help, no one came. And it just goes on, and then it gets into the politics of everything, and
it doesn't include and pull other different parts of, even some parts out of Bloodline. Maybe a couple little things. Well, one character from Lost Stars that just really knocked my socks off, and they took a little while introducing him whenever Leia went to Ryloth, and I just kept telling myself, please be Yendor, please be Yendor, and it ended up being Yendor. I was not ready for that. It was so good.
Oh no, yeah, it pulled in towards the middle there or the end. It pulled in a lot of books, and I can't attest to the comics really on what was brought up from the comics or how the comics really tie into that. I think we kind of established that, but it was kind of like if you've read all the books, which I have, it is just kind of it lets you, it gives you a reason to have read them. This one just kind of ties everything together because you have books that, like I was saying earlier, are kind of different. When you have Bloodlines, which is more about politics and the bloodline of Leia and how they find out who her father is and all the politics going around with that. And then, of course, there's politics in the Aftermath series, but that's more of planning and setting up
the building of the New Republic, or the beginnings of the New Republic.
So
just like Bloodlines, it starts to show the beginnings of where the First Order comes from.
Yep. But I mean, there's so many other things too that if you want to be, they're so immersive for, I thought it was great because when Poe is asking Finn about his love life, it opens up a whole can of worms there because this is, some people want to talk about it, other people don't want to talk about it, but who really cares? It's in the book, so you got to go with it. What's going on with what's going on with Rey and Finn? They're just friends. Okay, what's going on with Rose and Finn? They're just friends. Well, we saw they had a little moment that was maybe more than friendship, and they decided, the two of them, that they are just gonna stay friends. It's for the betterment of their friendship or whatever, which brings me to, if if you've ever been interested in a girl, or a guy, whatever it be. For me, it just happens to be a girl, so that's what I'm going to use as my example. I'm interested in a girl, and we're friends, and she wants to stay friends. Then we decided to stay friends, even though I might want more. So you don't know with that if that plays in with Ray, or if that plays in with Rose, or if it is just kind of a mutual thing where it's just like, you've had something that happened and it's like, oh, that probably shouldn't happen anymore. We should just stay friends because it's going to complicate things or whatever. But then you also it could have been setting up something more. Why? Well, how come Finn's having a problem with the only two available women in Star Wars? Maybe because they're women. Maybe he should be seeking more than friendship along the lines of somebody else. And who do we have else that is always there that people want to ship him with? And this book, whether or not it intended to, and as Anthony always says, there's no coincidences in Star Wars, makes a strong argument that there should be or could be a Finn and Poe ship.
Yeah, Pete in the live chat just brought that up.
Yeah,
he ain't the only. We've heard it on other shows over the past couple of weeks through a few folks. We'll see what's what. But yeah, no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason.
I definitely heard it, and when I was going through the book, and I mean, it was, I don't know, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, and I wanted to talk to somebody about it, and there was nobody for me to talk to about it. And
there's two of them.
And I think I put on Twitter, I was like, hey, has anyone seen this yet, or anyone gotten to it yet? And the one person that always finishes the books, he almost always beats me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple books I've beaten him on recently. I think for this since The Last Jedi came out, I think we're 3-2 or 3-3. We might be tied. But
Tom Jansky.
Yep. But the big time, the big time, like canon books, like that delve heavily into canon, he usually ends up having a chance to finish those first because I don't. It takes me, like, this one was 11 hours, and it took me, when I got home from work, it was, I think, 11:58 when I finished it. So if it would have been one of the 14 or 16-hour books, it would have taken me till midway to the next day. He would have had me beat. But the shorter ones, I can usually plow through them really quick. That's my only chance to be able to beat him. But that was the first impression that I got of the book. That was something like significant that I wanted to talk to somebody about, was what's going on with this ship. Like this is definitely pushing that Finn and Poe, whether or not they are interested in each other, or there's at least something more than friendly feelings going on.
We'll see. Is all I can say. I'm not. You know, I ain't one for speculation. So
I don't think we'll see any. I don't think we'll see anything in the movie that goes past what we saw in the book. After the movie's over, we may see things transpire then, because I don't know if Disney's ready to put that out in the open.
In live action.
Yes. And books, or
something as folks say, in ancillary materials, books, comics, and whatnot.
Hey, sorry about that. Something was going really iffy on my my device.
Oh, no worries.
We're good.
You got me? Can you hear?
Yep, we got you.
Excellent. Right, that's better. Right. So I kind of think, like, they've really, like, these canon books, that I definitely think right now the story group are earning their paychecks. Definitely at the minute, especially with, like, And what we've kind of had with this Journey to the Rise of Skywalker, I think what we're seeing is a precursor to.
I'm just playing with the camera.
Okay, I can swivel.
Okay.
I think like we're getting a precursor here to what we got, what we'll be getting in like next year with Project Luminous. Because I mean, we've had what three things coming out.
5 authors.
Yeah.
In whatever that story is going to be.
Exactly, and we've had and for Journey to the Journey to Rise of Skywalker for these 3 main ones that feel like they're tying in. I don't really know much about Force Collector. I don't know how much that's going to tie into these because I haven't read it yet. But we've had 3 authors, 3 different kind. Like you've had an adult novel, a middle grade novel, and comics. Now we know we're getting that at least in Project Luminous, and I think this has been a really good tester for what we'll be getting then. And it's
agreed.
And I think this has gone so well, and these 3 stories really kind of tie in very cohesively. Project Luminous is looking to be fantastic if this is the kind of thing that we're getting now.
Agreed. Still can't wait to find out what that is.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Do either one of you have a guess on what Project Luminous could be? Because I'm sure we've all heard that one of the front runners or theories on it is that it is going to be from a certain point of view. It just happens to be from the Empire Strikes Back.
Johnny, you go first.
It's possible, but I mean, it's not like I don't think they would keep it so secret if that's what it was. I mean,
this is really locked down tight. We know nothing.
Exactly, and with from a certain point of view for the New Hope, we pretty much had it. They said, right, this is what we're doing: 40 short stories for the 40th anniversary of Star Wars by 40 authors. Here you go. Here's the list. Look forward to it. I don't know why they would be keeping it so secret if that's what they were doing now.
Yeah, Michael, you're right. It was born of all of our fans' speculation that we was hoping, because from a certain point of view, that book was really good. Some of the Cantina stories, in my opinion, were a little off and away, but the rest of them were just. And then we knew that 3 years later, or the next 3 years, it's going to be Empire's turn to turn 40. And is this what that's going to be? Because that would be fantastic. But now I'm starting to think, and I'll do a little bit of speculating, I'm starting to think that folks are really coming around to things are going to change about how we understand the Force. Because we don't really have an understanding of it. With every next story, something new, we get shown or told something new about it. We've never been shown that it's ever been able. That's where I'm thinking what that's going to be. Something very significant is going to go on concerning something with the Force that we've never seen, and that's what they're going to show us, is my guess.
I like what Rez is saying here. Force users with no Jedi. I think that would be an interesting take on it, because I think at this point now, like we've seen so much stuff with Jedi. I think the one thing we're missing is Jedi actually in their heyday. When everything was good for them, not like when Phantom Menace, when kind of like that era where the Jedi the things were going wrong for the Jedi, or starting to. But yeah, I'd like to see Force users with no Jedi, but I'd also like to see kind of the Jedi a couple of hundred years before Phantom Menace, before they became all political, and let's just do what the Senate wants us to do.
Hey, Galactic Foxy 33, welcome to the chat.
Howdy.
Hey, Foxy 33. Thanks for stopping by. I like. I mean, I like that. I'd be happy with. I thought the Force Collector was really good. It took 6 or 7 or 8 chapters.
Yeah, I read you through that.
It was just an okay book that I was reading because it was Star Wars up until chapter 7 or 8, and then it got really good with things about it, and I got really interested in it, and it was like I wanted. It was I was actually upset that I had to go to work. Like I have to put this down and not do it, and I wasn't able to rebel, so I wasn't able to read it at work at all.
Did you do the hard copy?
No.
Audio?
Yep. I only read with my ears,
Okay.
so
Okay.
that's what
I have it. I got it last Tuesday when it came out, but ain't started it yet. So I'm still arguing with myself. I should have woke up this morning and put my playlist down and put that on because it's only a little over 8 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have done that book today because I listened to Resistance Reborn on 1.25 speed, starting at breakfast that Tuesday morning, and I was done with it before I got home from work.
Nice.
Yeah, Pete, sometimes rebelling's hard. Ask Michael, he'll tell you. He rebels more than any of us.
That's what I call it when I'm at work and I'm technically not allowed to listen to or have earbuds in or headphones in, but depending on what the plan is for the day or what's going on, sometimes it's
you can push those limits.
Yeah, we'll put it like that. I guess I've even had the big bosses there. My boss's boss there, and never said anything to me when it takes place or it happens. So it's like, okay, it's not a free pass. I understand that, but it's, oh, I forgot it was in there, for 3 hours ago, but whatever. But so any highlights from the Resistance Reborn that you have?
Highlights, Johnny. What do you got?
Oh, so much.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Like that first scene with Wedge when Snap goes to Wedge's. Like I know we got the excerpt for it where it's like they arrive and they first tell Wedge that Luke had died. But like that felt that whole scene as well, kind of having like Wedge's morning routine, going through to speaking to Snap and Kari, all the way through to when Nora comes into the room and they have that really long conversation. Yep. I absolutely love that scene, and Rebecca Roanhorse just really wrote those characters just so well. I can imagine Wedge as Dennis Lawson. Nora Wexley, she was written just like Chuck Wendig wrote her. Snap Wexley, absolutely spot on. And Kari, I mean, I know she's from the Poe Dameron comic, but, I didn't feel like a disconnect between the two mediums. So I was really pleased with that scene because these aren't like main characters. Like it's easy to get Luke, Leia, Han right, now, especially nowadays. But to get these characters that we don't really know a lot about, it definitely goes to show how great an author someone is if they can write these characters as well as they do when we don't know a lot about Snap Wexley. We've seen him in one film and we've seen him in Aftermath.
Yeah. You have a character that already has a base. It's not like someone like Han Solo that's so delved out and we know about them. Yeah. It's a side character that we get little bits and pieces of that come along with, and show up and then are personified. Yeah. And like if they were just written the exact same. But to go to the chat really quick, we have a question.
I I was going to ask you to please answer Pete's question. We talked about this last night.
Who would have a psychedelic experience with Maz Kanata, even if you had to utilize feline poop?
Answers
I
all
was-
stood from folks in the chat room. Everybody get in on this.
You can't see me here because of the way my camera's. I got my hand raised up. Like, yeah, dude. Like, you know.
I would totally do it, but feline poop, I deal with that enough with my 2 cats. I don't, if there's anything else, yes.
But that's not galactic feline cat poop, Johnny. The galactic version of it's going to be something maybe better.
Is it worse? Like, it could be worse. Could be better. I don't know.
I can imagine it'd be worse.
But you know.
Oh,
not that I know what this is like, but from what people have told me, mushrooms taste horrible, and you eat them, and just from what rumor has it, and you still do it anyways. I mean, is it going to be any worse than that?
Well, probably not.
Yeah. Then they're all stuck in your teeth, and you're trying to pick them out, and you can't get it out, and then it's just horrible.
I don't really want to.
So I read an article about that one time.
What I don't want to do is, when someone asks me what I've been up to, and I say I had a really bad trip on cat crap.
Oh, that's why the question was asked so eloquently and said feline.
Oh, they're growing cow poop anyway, so there's the connection.
Yep.
Oh, see.
Them Kentucky boys be learning you things.
I might not make it to Celebration. I might just end up in Kentucky.
Well, who knows if they decide to keep moving Celebration around, maybe we'll get one here in New York City.
Oh, I'd love it.
And I would love that too.
Oh yeah, we got 2/3 of Jam Transmissions in there now. Joshua's aboard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's telling you about the cow poop and mushrooms.
Well, I mean, yeah. Us slitty slickers, we got to grow them in our closet. So, we don't. It's not the same as the old natural ones. You just go pick. But you gotta do what you gotta do. That was much.
Woods.
But
so let's see, where was we? Other takeaways and surprises from Resistance Reborn. RC, when that showed up on the list of political prisoners.
Oh,
yeah.
All Leia could glean from that was RC, and I'm thinking, that was just as good as when Yendor showed up. I'm like, is this story going there? And it surely did.
Yep.
Holy force.
You know what? I was sat there, I was reading it, and I'm like, oh, come on. No, it's not. But she's holding out hope, and I'm like, okay, let's see. And then you finally get the clarification, and I was like, and that scene between them at the end was just so nice. It was nice to kind of get them together.
And they ended up taking Winsher Bratt's assistant. I think her name was Yama. They took her along too, and I was happy for that.
Yeah.
After all she went through. And yeah, Pete's right. He liked how this book was heavy grooming Poe into the leader the Resistance needs. Yep.
It definitely did. I liked how it starts off right off the bat with Rose and giving Rose her little bit of time, which I think is important for the character without really getting into the other crap about it. But gets Rose her attention, let her know what's going on, because that was one of the things that people wanted to know, especially even with all the advertising and marketing. She's not in anything, which is a whole other subject in itself. But it got Rose in there, and I was actually really happy to see that. Ray, I think this book, if you had to pick one character that it was really about, is probably Poe. And how you're going to see him becoming the new leader of the Resistance and Rise of Skywalker.
I can't help it. It's too long.
So he, in the Rise of Skywalker, he's going to be the one that is taking over. And he was humbled in this book, whether it was by other people that they were trying to get to join the Resistance that called him out for being a douchebag, and the fact that it said, "I'm a soldier. I disobeyed my command," which that was a problem that a lot of people had with The Last Jedi. Was, well, she should have just told them. Well, that's not the way it works. Yes, it's a voluntary military, but it's still a military. So, there's chain of command. You don't question authority. And if you are able to, you don't do it in front of other people. Much less have a mutiny going on because you don't agree with what the plan is. And then you feel like a piece of shit afterwards because, everything that pretty much happened was your fault. From the beginning of the movie until that took place. But
he got called out for all the different things he did wrong, that he cost him that squadron of bombers and other fighter pilots. But then, who didn't love how the way Leia went and ended that? By saying, all right, yes, he's done those things. I'm the daughter of Darth Vader. Anybody got something to say to me? And that was the end. Boom, done.
Yeah, that was if anyone's going to steal the scene, it was her, especially in that moment, and it was totally, and you can see him, where he's going. And have you seen the new TV spot? Debate?
Yep.
And you actually see him doing the speech, and like that, just him stood there saying it feels really important. Whereas if he was doing that in Last Jedi or Rise, what was that first one? Force Awakens. Bad Star Wars fan. It wouldn't have been pulled off quite well. And seeing his development here really works.
Seeing a question in the chat directed straight to Michael. What's your favorite Star Wars movie and favorite character?
Okay.
Fox wants to know.
My favorite movie. This kind of.
Yep.
I think the best movie is The Last Jedi. It goes and shows what the Jedi are supposed to be. It's the most Jedi movie of the Jedis. I think the most fun is Solo. And those are pretty much, that's the that's what I have to go. But like Anthony always says, his favorite movie was the last one that he watched. And before we're going on almost 2 years ago since I started YouTube, and I think pretty much everybody in here knows the story how Johnny Grasso found me because I did some stupid video. And he's like, "Hey, come hang out with us." And I was scared of what was going on because I had no idea who anybody was. I never listened to a podcast before. I didn't know anybody on Twitter or the Facebook communities or in YouTube. And, I had no idea what I was walking into. I thought it was going to be a bunch of South Park, the computer guy who's killing all the kids that's sitting there, just eating Doritos all day, the big, fat dude. Like I have, my vision of what everyone else sees Star Wars fans sitting in their basement doing. Like that's what I'm going to walk into, and I walk in there, and I'm the biggest nerd out of everybody that's there. So it was kind of like, okay, whew, all right, I got away with this one, and now I hope I'm cool enough to be with these people. But that's how it all started for me. I listened to my first podcast on the train on the way to go meet them and hang out with them. It was the day after my birthday. My girlfriend luckily let me go because she was just like, this is fine. This is, you want to go hang. It wasn't a, you want to go meet people and hang out with people, and this is our day to celebrate your birthday or whatever. And it was just like, okay, yeah, go ahead. This is what's going to make you happy for your birthday. That's fine. She was more than welcome to come, and she was like, nope, she'd rather sit here and watch Gossip Girl or whatever it was than come hang out with me and my Star Wars friends. So, that's how it all started. But that was my first podcast I ever listened to, besides like a science or an educational one, was Rogue One on the way to the train. And I was like, oh, these guys sound like they're pretty cool. And walked in, and it was everybody there. There was people from the West Coast here visiting. There was guys from Toe Swift that were there. So I kind of, I got jumped in by the big boys right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm friendly with a bunch of them, and best friends are really good friends with a couple other ones that came from it. So my whole starting off, wanting to make friends, so I decided I was gonna do all this. I don't know where this tangent came from. Oh yeah, I do. But before I got into the social media aspect of it, I was always watching a Star Wars movie. And
I think that's
there was usually one or two of them a day. So it wasn't like, what was the last movie you watched? It was like, what was the last one I didn't watch? And it wouldn't be like, oh, I just watched, people hate Attack of the Clones or people hate the Phantom Menace or whatever. I liked the prequels. I was not gone from the fandom, but I didn't do comic books or legends or anything. So when I found out, bless you, when I found out that it was coming back, my mind was in a different altered state, but I was still happy about it, back in 2000 or in the late 90s. So, I was happy about it, but it was just different. And then they made those, and they're done and over with, and okay, fine. And I still didn't do any of the other legends or anything else that they did. I had the movies, and that was it. I just watched the movies over and over again. I think I was talking with somebody that 2 years ago, if I would have done one of the contests or schmodowns or whatever, I would have done really well with having a seriously good chance of winning, because all I did is watch the movies over and over and over again. And since then, my recall or memory has gone completely way down. And, I'm lucky if I watch. I can't tell you the last time I watched a movie. Actually sat down and watched one. It's probably been a couple months since I've had one on in the background. Since Disney Plus has come out, though. Oh, that's not true. Since Disney Plus has come out, I've watched A New Hope, Empire, Episode 1, 1.5 seasons of Rebels, Mandalorian, probably between the three of them about 15, 20 times. Not each one, but all together. So yeah, I don't really. I'll watch any movie for Star Wars and not have a problem with it. I would. With that being said, after that 5-minute answer, I think the one I watched the least is Rogue One. And I don't know if there's a reason for it or not.
Yeah, that's not saying that you didn't like it. It's just for maybe something that you just didn't. It was one that for whichever reason you ain't picked on that much. laid on it quite a bit.
I tend to. I mean, I'll. It's funny. Like I don't. Well, at the minute, of course, in the run up to Rise of Skywalker, I'm doing the Skywalker saga in order. The age old rewatch got to be done. But I'm skipping Solo and Rogue One because as much as I love both those films, in the run up to The Last Jedi, I actually really couldn't stand watching Rogue One in my rewatch because I was like, I'm going to do them all, but it just didn't feel right, and I've got to be really in the mood for that one. But that being said, you could get me in the mood to watch it just by having shuffle on my iPod, and it comes and like one of the soundtrack scores comes up, and I'm like, I have to watch Rogue One again. I agree with Michael though. Solo is the most fun. I think that's one I've watched probably the most in the last kind of year or so because it just is. It's a Star Wars popcorn flick. But I think for me, and I think I will go to my grave saying this. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite. It'll be the one that I watch. I've watched it the most. It was the first one I watched. And as it's the first one I ever saw, I think I've got like the nostalgia for it. Like I have more memories of watching that the first time than I do A New Hope and Return of the Jedi from the original trilogy. And I think that one will live with me a lot more than the rest of them have. Not to say that I don't have great memories for all of them or anything, but that one's like that's my nostalgia kick from '93 when I first saw it.
All right, Joshua's got a question. He says he wants for us three, but I'd love to see everybody's answers in the chat. He wants to know what's one thing about the new canon Star Wars era films that you're most pleased with? Michael, your show, you're up.
That means I go last, so I get a chance to think about it. That's what happens. You put me on the spot. No, I'll go first. You put me on the spot. That's when I get all my ums in there. I become an machine, and I take 10 minutes to answer. But I think how that they're turning back to make amends for the mistakes that the Jedi have made. With
great one. Whoa, didn't see that coming.
I didn't see it coming either. I was just, but I mean that's like I said, The Last Jedi is the most Jedi movie of the Jedis. I mean that's what the whole, even though it's not called Jedi movie, they're all Jedi movies, whether or not that's what you call them or not. So that's getting back to where it's supposed to be. Whether or not this one's going to continue that way, because some people, Rey has to delve into the dark side to defeat the dark side, or does she stay completely good to defeat the dark side? I mean, I'm not really sure. Sometimes you got to do bad things to be good at war. So I'm not really sure how that will tie into that, but yeah, I think just the way that they're the new canon or the new movies are righting the wrongs of the Jedi of the past. Like Johnny was saying, he'd like to see a movie about Jedi a couple hundred years ago, where they're more like monks. Buddhist monks, I should say, not Irish swilling, Irish drinking monks. That was that's.
Nah, that'd be the Irish monks.
I think Obi-Wan would be a good Irish monk.
Definitely.
Agree.
But I mean, yeah, it's. I would like to see them. Also, I know this wasn't part of the question. I'll shut up after this. So, I'd like to see them turn the books into short miniseries, maybe without the big high budgets for Disney Plus. Going into knowing that it's going to be, here's a a 3-hour or 4-hour series or whatever it is with, X amount of millions of dollars. I don't know. I mean, Netflix is doing it, making $100 million movies that, yeah, everyone sees it, but no one's turning on Netflix for it, or no one's buying Netflix for the movie. The Will Smith one that came out where,
Right.
Bright, yeah, that was a great movie.
Was it based on a book?
I don't know. I enjoyed the movie immensely. It's where fairies and humans live together, and there's monsters and orcs or whatever, and we're all integrated. It's no more there's no more racism anymore, speciesism, or however you want to put it, because you had to get past the racism, because it doesn't matter if you're black or white when you're trying to fight an ogre or whatever it was. They spent whatever $100 million, $150 million on the movie, and it was their most watched or downloaded whatever movie ever, but no one signed up for, no one bought Netflix just to watch it. So it's great if you already had it, but you're spending $150 million or $100 million to make this movie, and it's not doing anything. It's not keeping their people to watch it. They're not going to say, well, I want to spend another $100 over the next year or $200 over the next year because the sequel is going to come out.
So, Johnny, what's your take from newest Star Wars stories?
Just the in total, general, that the new kind of just that cohesiveness that we've had. Everything's connected. There's you're not getting like a book about Luke Skywalker that just doesn't feel like Luke Skywalker. Because it all goes through the story group, it works. Everything just gels nicely together. Even like, a lot of people don't like the book Heir to the Jedi. But
yeah, I'm one.
I don't mind it. It's not my favorite.
It's not mine either, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's Luke Skywalker. You can't. It felt like Luke. It always felt like Luke. It's just the story wasn't what I wanted it to be. Last Shot, again, not one of my favorites, but Han Solo feels like Han Solo with added depth to him in the interim. At no point did I kind of think that's not Harrison Ford's Han Solo, or that's not Alden Ehrenreich's Han Solo. It was Han Solo. But then if you look back in the old Legends timeline, it was the Black Fleet Crisis, where Han Solo has been sat on Coruscant doing nothing for a few years, and he just wanders off to this weird castle on Coruscant because Luke's decided to hang around there, and he's having trippy Force visions. Then there's a scene where the two of them talk to each other, and it doesn't feel like I'm reading Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. I'm reading these two completely different characters from what I've grown up with, what I've known. And it just, there was no cohesiveness, and then it just carried on like that in Legends. But now everything ties in, everything works, everyone is on the same page. Comics, books, films, animation, and now live action TV, everything just gels, and that's what I think Star Wars was lacking, especially in the 2000s, when there was like you've got the prequels coming out, you've got the Samurai Jack guys, Clone Wars, then you've got all the Clone Wars novels, all the Clone Wars comics, nothing gelled. No, there's 3 different versions of how Anakin becomes a Jedi Knight. And which one do you go for? Now, I personally went with Jedi Trial. Was it Jedi Trial? The novel Jedi Trial, I think, which I thought was really good. But at the same time, you still needed to know stuff from like later on in the timeline, because Corran Horn's biological father was the Jedi Knight, or the Jedi Master, who was in charge of that campaign. And, he's got a wife, and Anakin relates to him because he's got a wife. But then I've just watched this animated series where Anakin just walks into the Jedi Temple and becomes knighted because they needed
more Jedi Knights, and he just seemed to fit the bill. Now you don't get that. Now, we know, I don't think we've seen Anakin's knighting, but we know that there is a story there, and we know that if that story is told, that is the story, and nothing's going to change that. We know that Darth Maul dies on Tatooine. Sorry if anyone's not seen Twin Sons.
That was over a year ago. Then you can't put a spoiler on that.
They're not going to turn around and just suddenly throw in Maul hanging out on Tatooine in the new Kenobi series because we know how it ends. There's so much timeline to fill in, and there's so many stories to tell. And as long as they keep doing it and it all is cohesive, there's not going to be a problem.
Somebody please tell me again how they don't have a plan. They don't have a roadmap of where they're going. Because, Johnny just painted it all plainly. They very much know, and in many more ways than what we think we know, they know exactly what the hell they're doing and where it's going.
And they have, they have their short-term plan or their long-term plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the next 20 years are planned. The next 20 years are planned out. Maybe not, to what detail is the question. That's probably always going to be changing on certain things. But I think we talked about it when I was doing the live stream last week. One of the books I opened up was the day after it was announced that Disney bought Lucasfilm. The day after, they already started. It was
Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah.
They started with storyboards and plans, and there's pictures in this book of the treatments or whatever they're called at that such early stage. So I mean, months. So it was already before it was even publicly announced. For months before that, it was being planned. So when they announced to everybody, they already had, it planned out. Just, going back to where however many years, George Lucas planned it out before it got up and running. Disney probably had people working on it for months, if not years, or whenever they decided that they were going to buy it, or however it works out. All right, let's try and get something going on here. Let's figure out what we can do, and started spitballing. Whether it was a couple people or how big it was, nobody knows. Who knows, Rural Farm Boy? Who knows?
I can definitely. Every time I hear somebody say that on a show, I'm always going back with, believe me, somebody knows. We don't know who that somebody is, but somebody knows. I mean, when TFA was in its pre-production, they were already kicking around the idea for Rogue One. And about that same time, if you go and look, folks were just starting to get the idea to go talk to Larry Kasdan, since he was still around, about making Solo. So they were kind of three things going on simultaneously. We had no clue but one of them. That's how deep they get into working on stuff. So we know that they've been working on Mandalorian. They're getting ready. They're working on season 2 now. They're planning out Cassian. Rise of Skywalker's still getting ends parts put together. And what other couple things they working on that we don't know about? Because you can damn well bet there's things they're working on. I mean, even Resistance, Star Wars Resistance. Dave Filoni started kicking that around right about time Rogue One came out in 2016, and talking to folks like Jim Rash and Donald Faison about, I had an idea about this. Maybe I got a part for you in it. Yeah, Lucasfilm's always working on way more than just one thing. And that one thing is the only one they ever go and tell us. So imagine what yet we have to be told.
Well, that's when the one panel for Resistance, I don't know what I went to instead of going to see something. I went to go see the Darth Maul panel instead, and the Resistance panel. So they, at Celebration, Resistance was already done. this season right now. They didn't announce that it was finished, but this season was already done, made, finished.
Mhm.
So and that was 6 months ago. Now it's 9 months ago. Before the show even goes to air, it's completely done. Which means how long did it take to illustrate and to do? Another year or two. So before the first episode came out of Resistance, they were probably almost done with the last episode. So I mean, there's your plan for you. My question is, does anyone think that after the Rise of Skywalker, we're going to get, I don't think we're going to get the Resistance anymore because we're not going to need the Resistance, but we're going to get another cartoon that goes along with the players that were in the Resistance that are still alive, whether it be from the cartoon or that didn't die. So it's like a spin-off of it, and then they're going to be, their job is then going down and hunting down or finding the rest of the First Order that is no longer around. Because I mean, that's what happened with perfect example. We have the Mandalorian. You have all these people that were left over from the Empire that are now warlords and running these cities or planets or whatever. If the Resistance or whatever they're going to be after they win is, that would make a good cartoon to go hunting down, finding these new story arcs of these people that were in the I'm a little frazzled here trying to think of this, but I haven't thought about this in a while. Trying to find people that may be in the books that in Resistance Reborn, people that were in the First Order that were mentioned in that book. Now we have to go hunt them down and try and find them. And there's a 2 or 3 story arc hopping from planet to planet, finding this person and that person.
I kind of think I'm gonna have to disagree. I don't think we're gonna get anything from after 9 for a while. I think they're going to fill in a lot more gaps. I think their main thing now is going to be filling in the 30 years between Jedi and Force Awakens. Because I think if they have a plan for post 9, which they obviously do, I don't think we're going to see anything from it for a good few years.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they got a general outline of what other stories are going to be, and they're still filling that out yet. There's a lot. It's a galaxy. How big is that? What all else is going on in a galaxy? No matter what part of the timeline, but yeah, especially after Rise of Skywalker, it's definitely going to continue to be, I think, what everything's been, like I always say, since Empire Strikes Back. Every next story was something new and different, what weren't told before.
Yep. And I think they're going to have a better. Everything's figured out, so they know. They have their 5-year plan, their 10-year plan, and ideas. They're not going to be, although they may be rewriting the script. They're not going to be changing the story from, love interest to sister to possible Jedi savior, all in the matter of 20 minutes of a movie. So they already got it all. They already got it all figured out better than what we got to work with in the first place. But if we didn't have what we had in the first place, we wouldn't be getting any of this. And we might not have fallen in love with it. Then we might not be sitting here talking with each other.
Back here a little ways in the chat, Pete from Jan Transmissions asked, what was your favorite media that Resistance Reborn pulled from, i.e. Kodameron comic, Bloodline, Lost Stars, Battlefront 2, Aftermath?
It was too many to count.
I'll take this one first. I'm going to go with Battlefront 2. and not way of the game because I don't have a PlayStation 3 or 4. I was really interested after reading Inferno Squad. Yeah, I loved Aiden and I loved every character, even though San Marana didn't last too long in the story, but I loved that story. And then the story mode part of that game came up and included what all happened after at the battle end or what went forward from there. And I wanted to know that story, so I went and hunted up some cutscenes. And I found a couple different versions. They're still here on the YouTubes if you want to hunt them up. That story that played out just like a goddamn movie. It was so good. And even now, I'll go and include that among the film stories. Is if I want to go put something on like that in the background, if I don't have my playlist going, I love that story. So for me, that's my favorite, Pete.
I'm gonna join you in Battlefront 2, but mainly for Shriv.
Here, here.
Oh, there was like two moments. It was like two chapters consecutively that they kind of hinted that something awful was happening to Shriv, and it was like when I was reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix for the first time, and they kill Sirius Black. I literally closed the book, threw it across the room, and was like, no. And if only my daughter hadn't been asleep in the next room, I would have done the same when I thought Shriv was getting killed both times. Like when he lost the cable and he starts to fall, I'm like, no. Followed by, and then the ship began to fall, and I'm like, oh, come on.
If you ain't already, if you want to get a little deeper with Shriv Shergav, go take a look in Pete Fletzer's Around the Galaxy podcast. He talked with the voice actor that voiced him, Dan Donahoe. Yeah. Really, really, really good listen. So fun.
I think I would have to say The Last Jedi and how it played with Poe's arc. I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, but just how he went from being the top-notch flyboy to can't do any wrong, can get away with whatever he wants to, not following rules and orders or whatever,
being a cocky wise ass.
Leia was probably partly her fault for letting him get away with that because she let him, and then Leia's not around. He doesn't have his safety blanket anymore, and look at what happens. And now in this book, it talks about how he's now humbled and has learned from his mistakes, and if he knows he needs forgiveness and that he's made mistakes, and there's nothing he can do about what he's done in the past except to change and try and be a better person in the future.
Great pick, Michael. Great pick. I love how we can always go and take and do something like what Pete asked and then turn it around and do what Johny did, not because of the story, but because of one character. I love how we do that.
What also shocked me was that they involved Baraka from Jedi Fallen Order as well, and I was like, that was really, they kind of just like, that kind of came out of nowhere. I did not expect to see that one coming. But then again, you're like kind of looking at this. It's just another reason why the Disney era is so good, and the connectivity and everything. I did say that right, didn't I? Baraka.
Yeah.
Is that the right one? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's something else. That's something else I got to go hunt up cutscenes for because I want to know that story too. So now I got Horse Collector to go and put down, and then find the time to find a reasonably length version of Jedi Fallen Order for the story mode. I want to know what that is.
I'm not going to tell you what's just one of the things that I've just seen, but it blew My mind.
All right, Anthony, did you see that Pete said that his favorite one is from Bloodline?
Yeah, I just scrolled back down because I left it locked back up to where his question was. Yeah, there's some
'Cause you
love
were-
for that story.
That was one of the ones that you brought up earlier when we were talking about the story, was that you I don't know, I forget what you said about it.
Oh,
I
see,
gotta-
up in the list.
One of the most I'm putting words in your mouth, but one of the most profound, or one of the things that you remember most, was Bloodlines, and that was just that. It's really hard to just pick one because there are so many things it ties into, whether it's video games or books or movies or whatever it happens to be. And
No, I took his question as pick something that's just off the top of your head that doesn't make it sound like it's ranking or making it a best of. Because I'm pretty sure, at least amongst the three of us, we don't really rank stuff because love it all. Just which one in that particular moment comes to your mind.
Yep, that's what it usually seems to be.
Yeah, I don't rank. I can't go and rank. I'm like, why does everything got to be a favorite one over another? Can't we just love it all the same? I just yelled at the Star Wars Sessions boys, was asking which of the 3 episodes of Mandalorian did you like best, and I'm like, I gotta pick one. I can't pick one.
I think I'll go with what you say. It was like the last one I watched. That was number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and was it yesterday's JT Com? Pete was, if I recall correctly, that's what happens when you listen to so many shows. They all kind of start to blend together a little bit. He was saying he's starting to get to the point where, with all these different things, and as you get a little bit older, yeah, you really kind of can't go and rank them because there's just so much good everywhere.
I think where the ranking comes into it is when you had just the original trilogy and you needed something to argue about or talk about with someone. So, oh yeah, well, you thought that one was better. I think this one's better. Okay, fine. We both agree that Empire is better, but so you think the second one's better than the first one, but the third one, whatever it happens to be, whatever you could argue about, then to just strike up not necessarily a conversation, but that was what there was. Now it's, well, what do you like? The prequels, the sequels, the original? You group them all together. It's like, well, I think Empire is the best, followed by Revenge of the Sith, but that can't be an answer because you have to group them all together as either the first 3, the middle 3, or the 3 we have coming on. And I had a girl at work that works with me, and she's like 22 or 23 years old. She started watching Star Wars because of Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
She asked people which one to watch, and she watched Attack of the Clones. Now it's her only start, and she thought it was amazing. She loved the love story in it. She thought the best part of the movie was when Anakin says he doesn't like sand.
It's like, I like that part. I don't have one damn problem with that.
But it's like, the reason that everyone says they don't like the movie is because of the love story, is because of the horrible writing with Anakin, and he doesn't like sand. And she watched it with never watched anything before, and just wanted to see what it is about, because all I do is talk about Star Wars, even at work or whatever. It's always Star Wars, something with Star Wars usually. So she wanted to watch it. And, I was so proud of her because she never watched it. I was like, okay. I was like, well, what we're gonna do? I was like, you got Disney Plus? I got Disney Plus. I'm like, you watch it at your house. You hook up your camera. You can ask me all the questions that you want while you're watching it, or we'll watch them together or whatever. And I'll record, and you can put it up on your Instagram or whatever the hell you do because you think you're a model, and that's fine. And she's like, but there's so many of them. I don't know if I can commit to that. I was like, it's 9 movies. One a week for 2 months and we're done. Well, that's too many. I can't commit to that. And I was like, okay. But she had some interesting takes from just watching She told me that Yoda's the most important character in Star Wars. And she knows this is true because Disney has a new movie on Disney Plus that it talks about when Yoda was a baby. So, and I actually got in a conversation with her correcting her because she just didn't know any. She went from having no Star Wars knowledge to watching half of a movie, deciding she liked it. But she probably won't. She wouldn't like Revenge of the Sith because it's not a good love story. It's the complete opposite of a love story.
Yeah. It's where everything falls
so like
apart.
she probably wouldn't like that and probably would want to stop watching after that. But it's just people that don't know anything about Star Wars, and we all call it Baby Yoda, but we know that it's not Baby Yoda. It's just it's easier than using 30 seconds to talk about we know it's not Baby Yoda. We're talking about the species, but because it's just you just say Baby Yoda and everybody knows what you're talking about. But someone that doesn't know what you're talking about thinks that it must have happened before Yoda grew up, and then they found out Yoda's 900 years old. Something happened 1,000 years ago, 900 years ago. But whatever.
Yeah, that little one's got a name. Somebody was talking with Carl Weathers, and he made mention that he does have a name, so a name's coming. So folks calling him Baby Yoda, that's only going to run around for a little bit longer. And once we hear it, you won't hear Baby Yoda talk about no more. His name's coming.
Yeah, it'll be Baby Yoda for a while.
There's already probably a hashtag with his name and a little emoji.
Baby Yoda or Yoda, I think it's Yoda Baby is the hashtag that shows up when you start typing it in. But
the Girls with Sabers calls him Sweet Pea. I've heard a bunch of different nicknames. For me, he's just that little youngin'.
What are you doing?
Mr. Rez says the Mando will name him Baby Yoda. Well, if he knew nothing of Force powers, how is he going to know anything about Yoda? He clearly doesn't have any knowledge or anything that we know of right now about anything having to do with Jedi.
Yeah. I think they're far enough removed for the whole Jedi thing, the whole knowledge of the Jedi to be completely out there. That even QL doesn't know, doesn't understand it.
We got a newbie in the chat, Kylo Custom Squad, and he says, Michael, he's wearing that same hoodie you're wearing right now.
Sweet. It's a wonderful hoodie. It's not, it's like the perfect intermediate one. I couldn't go outside in a New York City winter with this, but it keeps me nice and toasty sitting in the house. But with the whole Baby Yoda thing or Yoda Baby, whatever, I like me and Mike when we record and we talk about the Mando, we call Gary Busey, even though it's not Gary Busey is the actor, it's Nick Nolte. But we were talking about it was like Gary Busey. We realized it wasn't Gary Busey, but we just kept saying Gary Busey because it was easier than stopping and thinking about the, wait, who is it? Okay, yeah, it's Nick Nolte. Or saying, wait, what's his name? So we just Gary Busey. So even when we recorded the last one, he was still Gary Busey.
Pete's asking us about what our thoughts are on the collective, and I'm thinking that's going back to Resistance Reborn. Somebody please refresh my memory on the collective. That's not ringing a bell for me at the moment.
That's the group who
there, he put it up. All right. Collective was an underground organization of engineers, scientists, technicians bent on stopping the spread of authoritarianism via technology.
So them. I think it is the first time we've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting idea.
Charles Westcott from Conversation seems to think that Toomedtoo, RP, and Johny, we are the collective.
You never know.
Well, if it's us, then I'm dragging them all in with us too. We can all be the collective.
I think that's just positive Star Wars fandom, aren't we? We're all a collective.
Yeah, hashtag all together in our fandom. There you go.
Exactly.
So it's like the collective. I mean, it gets into the whole debate on the resistance or the rebellion, whatever. It doesn't really matter what you call them. They're the same thing. Just depends on what time frame. Were they terrorists? And if you say no because it was for the greater good, well, they were still terrorists because I don't know the actual. But I mean, they were still terrorists, but they were doing it for good and for the betterment of life in the galaxy. That doesn't really change the fact that they were a small sect rebelling against a greater controlling authority. Whether or not that authority is good or not, that's up to your own interpretation. So to go along with the collective's interesting. It's like what you would. It was like what you would do if you were gonna, like anonymous.
Yeah, that's what Pete's saying from a certain point of view. That was their certain point of view. Yeah.
Anonymous will go and destroy people's lives that they feel are bad, whether it's through draining their bank accounts or putting stories out there or doxing them or whatever it is. But then it comes up to a certain point of view, who decides who's good and who's bad. And yeah, I guess I don't know. It's kind of one of those iffy subjects. It's hard to pinpoint a correct answer on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I get anywhere near the answer.
Well, Josh put up his thoughts. He says they were attempting to supplant an established government with their own rule through sabotage, espionage, and violent means. He thought we were an autonomous collective. This is why I tagged Pete to bring him into the chat.
I think really I think the idea of having like a group called like the Collective be introduced from Resistance Reborn was to kind of give a very easy way of expanding the resistance, but kind of with a different ideology. And I think kind of having it kind of opens it up because I mean all the stories that we've had, like the three stories that we've had in that kind of in this time gap, this period of time, there's still some more time to kind of develop it. And I think you could really kind of introduce kind of like Poe maybe having a bit of a well, not like a kind of a confrontation like he does with Holdo, but kind of a similar kind of just like kind of like two different personalities clashing, Poe against someone from the Collective, and it could make for an interesting story. So I think they're really opening up a bit more, like they're pulling the ring pull off of that can of worms a little bit more. Hopefully to get some more stories in the future. Maybe we will do after Rise of Skywalker comes out.
So let's see, what other parts of Resistance Reborn put me to thinking the ships, the fighters that Shriv went and got a hold of, and that CR90 blockade runner that they went and got a hold of too. That put anybody's thoughts to is might that be that blockade runner we see above the trees in the trailer? And maybe how many of them fighters we see in the clips might be as some of the ones that Shriv got a hold of.
I think it's more than likely. It's probably one of those things where the story group have kind of gone, right, look, we know we've got these ships in Rise of Skywalker, but it's kind of one of these places like, where would they get a blockade runner from? Where would they get like a bunch of X-Wings from? So, you know, they probably handed like Rebecca Roanhorse a list of, right, you can use these ships. These are the ships that we've kind of got on list. Go for it. But, you know, I like to think that is the blockade. Snap stole the blockade runner that we see in that trailer.
No, Pete, you're right. There can't be many. But when Resistance started, and that was only 6 months for the start of TFA, that blockade runner that picks up Kaz has already been around for at least 60, if not 70 some years. And same would go for the one that they piloted off of Corelli in that story. But yeah, maybe not too many that's that old. But we see one in that big old fleet of Resistance ships. You see that one that's in there.
Yep.
Also makes me wonder, because at the end of that story, when they had the conversation at the end, and Poe is telling everybody, spread yourselves out through the outer rim and every other place that you are, and keep gathering more support, more help. That put me to wonder, is this them all coming together when we see that massive fleet of ships that the Falcon goes and drops in front of? This all them coming together from all the places they hid and gathered up help?
Definitely
Maybe.
possible.
Maybe.
Because the book takes place shortly after.
It's like
Yep.
4 weeks, I think it said at one point, like Leia been ill 4 weeks.
Sounds about right.
I thought it was a couple of weeks, but yeah, that, you know, so Leia's still sick or ill or whatever from Leia Poppins.
Yeah, she's not doing well. She's not doing well.
So, you know, she's not up and running around like she normally would, gathering the troops or doing whatever. But so we still have a year or 2 years to assemble people. You know, so they could definitely drop in a second book after this. They could drop in a second book, and not have it really hurt anyone or, you know, step on anybody's toes. Just more about rebuilding, or, you know, give us 5 books about it more. You know, if they can, not to sound cliche, but if they can do it well, do it. You know, not like Legends, which, you know.
Pete's got to bow out. So may the force be with you, buddy. I'll see you on my radio in the week.
All right, Pete, thank you very much for stopping by.
I'll be listening to you tomorrow morning, buddy.
Yep, new jam transmission comes this Wednesday. Get him in your playlist.
Yeah, look out for my email.
Or just take them right out of my daily playlist when I post them up in the morning.
Yep.
I wonder if we, you know, part of me wonders if like they could like throw us another book around kind of, because I know we're going to get the Rise of Skywalker novelization in about March, aren't we? So they could be another book February maybe that they're not really announcing yet, because I think it would be a nice little surprise. Maybe, you know, if they release them both at the same time, unless Ray Carson's actually delving into more about kind of where everyone is, like that, like Poe going off to various places, like telling everyone to go off to various places.
I mean, if they're going to give us the novelization beforehand, but I don't think we're going to get that much. So we still have a year to fill in, if not more. So they can put. I mean, they could do a bunch of stories if they wanted to do them about each group.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? What if Luminous is that? It's the story from Resistance Reborn up until the novelization, and that's why they have 5 different writers coming in. But they're getting more writers than that, right? It's just the 5 coming in.
Just the 5. That's right.
It's 5 announced, or is it going to be
No,
just the
I
5?
think it is just the 5.
It is
So-
Claudia Gray, Charles Soule, who's actually involved with comics,
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jose Older,
Cavan Scott.
and Justina Ireland. That's them.
Yep. Part of me, because I've just started reading Black Spire. I didn't really that kind of was interesting. Like those the first few chapters where it's happening like concurrently with The Force Awakens, and now we're in post Resistance Reborn era of this time period where they've sent Vi to Batuu. So maybe, I mean, I don't think we'll see Batuu, but we might see some of whatever we get. I mean, I'm only 4 chapters in at the minute, but maybe we'll be seeing some stuff from this book happening in Rise of Skywalker.
I'm not going to speak too much to it because you ain't finished it yet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There might be some stuff that ties in. Hit me up when you finish it, because there's nothing concrete, but depending on how you interpret things, can go either way.
Right.
Is basically what it comes down to. Nothing's said, you know. I mean, I don't want this to be a spoiler, but nothing comes out and says we're going to be part of the next movie. But
no.
You know, you don't know how things are going to be left from the end of the book until what happens.
Right.
You know, just kind of like you don't really know. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to talk too much about it, but
No, Chris King, I don't think you need to read it before Rise of Skywalker. At least not that one particular one. I wouldn't say it's a need to. Still, it's a good story.
I'm only in the 4th chapter. I'm kind of it's kind of going slow for me. I'm wondering if it's a bit of a slow burn.
Yeah, because it starts off with a lot of Batuu, like if you were at the theme park and try this food and try that food. Like the first couple chapters are more of an advertisement, and then the rest of it kind of picks up. She was told not to have it be like an advertisement or whatever. She wasn't told to make it an advertisement.
Yeah.
But like we've talked about before, sometimes they're given points on what to hit and what not to hit or whatever. And she was probably told to hit these points. And, you know, in her mind, it was the easiest way to put the story together.
Yeah.
Because it does. That's what most people say that have read the book, or anyone that has anything negative that can be said about the book, is that it just kind of seems like, you know, if I invited you to New York City and you said, "Oh, I walked around Times Square and we saw this and we saw this and we went here and we went here," and you know, every place that, you know, "Oh, you got to go here, check this out." It's like, you know, and then start to tell your story of something else afterwards is kind of how it is. But yeah, it does. It gets really good. Somebody had posted on Twitter, it was like 5 a.m. or 4 a.m, and is anybody up? Does anybody want to talk about this? And I was like, okay, what do you want to talk about? and I think about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, the author of the book was tweeting me back, and Matt Martin was tweeting her back, and we're like, because we just went down a rabbit hole. Do you think it could be this? Do you think it could be this? Well, hang on, let me check this. And like, wait, what about in this paragraph? And just like going back and forth with everything. There's, and it was just funny because I was like, all right, thanks guys. Like you're, the person that makes these movies, and you're the person that wrote the book, or, and it's just like, no problem. You're a fan. Thanks. They didn't have to respond to us. Of course, we waited a couple hours. We didn't hit them up at 4 in the morning. We waited until, but yeah, it was just, a rabbit hole of 4 hours of mindless, wild speculation for absolutely nothing, because they were both like, nope, you're wrong. But that's a really good, no, that's really good though. We never even thought about it like that. That's the first we heard of something like that. And it was within a day or two of the book coming out, because, they couldn't believe that it, that question was coming up as soon as it did. Mr. Rez remembers that story.
Charles touches on your point too. Yeah, there's things to run across that we're familiar with concerning Galaxy's Edge, but that just added to things that we have that they gave us in the real world, to go down to a place to pretend like we ain't in the real world, or just to get the hell away from the real world. No, it just helped flush out that story just a little bit more. And some folks wanted to see it as advertising, and I just thought that was their opinion. There's so many more folks, if they would just go and not state opinions as facts and just say in my opinion, that would stop so many other arguments from starting. Josh is off and away too. May the force be with you, buddy.
See you, Josh. I'm guessing that you're doing some art on something, so I'm looking forward to seeing that crop up in your timeline. I was checking out what you were saying in the chat, so let's see some of this art, buddy.
All right, Josh, thank you very much for stopping by, and I will be hearing from you on Wednesday, because that's when you post your podcast.
Oh, and Chris is getting ready to get his youngins together. Resistance is coming for the folks that ain't got to see yet. This one's a good one. Is all I'll go.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'll go and say. Johnny, you get to watch yet?
Yeah. I'll be doing that after this. So
okay.
And then recording after that.
Well, that's what I was saying on Monday, that because of The Mandalorian and Fallen Order, everyone forgot that Resistance came out on Sunday, and everybody forgot that there was this book coming out on Tuesday, Force Collector. No one cared about those two things anymore, because we got bigger and better. Not saying that they are, but that's just what everyone was talking about. That's what all the buzz was about. So
I find this really weird. Like, you guys have only just got Force Collector. We've had Force Collector over here since Triple Force Friday for some reason.
Wow.
I have. It's like all of my local bookshops are naff, so I've not been able to find it. But it's been on Amazon for a while. But a kind of Triple Force Friday means Lego, not books.
Oh, Chris King wants to know, how do we already see it?
I haven't.
No, Resistance is what he's referring to.
Yeah, I know I haven't.
It comes out earlier.
I use Johnny's means, and he knows exactly what I mean when I say that. It ends with R. You take my meaning there, Johnny.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I go. That's the only thing I go and that.
I do two things, and that's it. And as soon as official means are available, then I jump to them.
Yep. Well, I only need the one official means that I got, and sadly, feeling for that you ain't. But should already have, in my opinion. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, I think there's so many issues that they've got going on over here with licensing. Like we've got an entire chat. Of course, we've got Disney Channel and all that. We've actually got a Disney Film Channel on Sky.
I did hear tell of that.
And I think Sky loses the Disney contract for that in January, so it's not being re-upped. And
that's going to start to open the door for Disney Plus for Yins.
Yeah, that's what. That's
okay.
what I don't know if it was. I don't remember if it was when I was talking with you guys on Monday or if it was when I was talking with Mike on Wednesday. But everybody that's so upset about Disney and why couldn't they just release everything together and blaming Disney and it's like, well, there's other people involved too. Like, yes, Disney, if they wanted to, could have waited to do it all at one time, but they probably didn't want to. And because of the way other contracts go with cable companies and providers and whatever it is, like you were just saying with Sky, that's why you guys don't have it until March, because after the contract's up in January, it still takes another however much time for whatever to go into a place that they have to do. And that's going to be when you guys can first get it, because they want to give it to you as soon as they can, because the sooner they get it to you, the more money they're going to make.
Yeah. I wish, Johnny, that you had access to even, I get it on my browser.
Yeah.
I just go to Disney Plus on my browser. I wish that you had a way to do that, because if you did, I'd give you my login and password just so you would be able to legally watch it.
Oh, thank you, buddy. But what I find really interesting is we've got a Disney streaming service over here called Disney Life. And I don't know if this is a European thing or if it's just a UK thing. It's essentially Disney Plus Lite. But it's been out here for a good few years. But we don't have Star Wars movies. I think we've only got some of the animated shows, and every now and again a new one crops up. I don't think we have Darkwing Duck, and I've seen that's one of the popular ones over in the States at the minute. But what I kind of wonder is why there's like the Mandalorian is not got a licensing with anyone else. So what I'm wondering is why are we having to wait for the original content when we have a service that they could use, and then essentially in March kind of upgrade it, so to speak. Because I think we'd pay the same price that we'd be paying for Disney Plus anyway. So I'm kind of like, there's for the stuff that we can't get, I understand licensing rights and all this, but for their new original content, like they could easily put it up already.
Hey, Dale Ordman's in the chat. He moderates with me when we do AT-AT chat, and I see him a few other places. Glad to see him here.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, he says certain people he thinks the Netherlands, and he's right, have had access earlier. Yeah, they use that as a testing grounds for
Netherlands.
Yep. They had pretty much. I don't know if it was full access, but it was pretty much everything. And they got it for about a month before it rolled out for whatever reason. I don't know. Probably because no one's ever heard of them. So.
Yeah, he's right. The Star Wars Refuge and Yoda Bowers already done spoiler reviews for some stuff for Mandalorian and Resistance today. It's up on their YouTube channel. Yes, Yoda Bauer does rule, Mr. Raz. She's great. It's little Miss Jessica.
That's who I was talking with about the book at 5:00 in the morning.
Yeah, she's always up so early because she works in media. So I try to tag her for some chats, but She's over Michigan ways, and since she gets up so early for her work, she very likely lays down pretty early, I expect too. I tried to get her in a few chats, but by now she's out.
Yeah, our
She's a
schedules
lot of
don't
fun.
line up. I believe when I record on Monday nights is her nap time.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm closing my stream and most people are getting ready to go to bed, she's just getting up.
Yeah,
So,
or just a few hours from it. Yep. She's a lot of fun in live chats. If you ain't ever stopped over to any of Star Wars Refuge's streams, I actually met her when I first got into Twitterverse. I met her in chats on, believe it or not, the 50th show, I'm going to call it anniversary, for Tattooing Sons. They did their very first live chat, and I met her in the chat room there, and I want to say Kyle Larson, while he just stepped away from doing Star Wars Newsnet, and a few other folks. Yeah, I met her over there, and come out of that live chat, and the next thing I know, she's following me in that Twitterverse. She's a lot of fun.
Then you probably knew me because we just didn't connect off of that one. Because I've been following them since pretty much the beginning.
Oh, Chris King's out. He's got to go. May the force be with you, buddy.
That's what they always joke around with me. I was the first one to have the Turbis the Porg T-shirt. I had the Turbis the Porg T-shirt before they did.
Yep, you were the first one.
I think that was the first episode I ever listened to. Was the 50th one. That was one of my first videos that I ever made. I made a Turbis the Porg video back almost 2 years ago. And my editing hasn't gotten any better since.
Chris says if we're still here in 30 minutes, he'll be back. And we've already been we're over 90. So we'll see where we end up at.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what's going to end up being. I'm waiting for the boss to come back home. She just left a little while ago. And she was supposed to work today and took today off. So
it appears you're canon, Michael. Mr. Red says you're canon.
Well, I'm kind of a big deal in the Resistance.
Well, I'm alright.
This is the way.
Oh, Mando episode 3, just brilliant. I had to go to supermarket after work on Friday, and it just been posted like a couple of hours earlier whilst I was at work. So I actually and I'm in this supermarket a lot because it's like the one that's right across the road from work. So I'm on their Wi-Fi, and I may or may not have watched about 20 minutes of Mandalorian in the supermarket. And then I was like so gutted that I had to leave because I was like halfway through, and I'm like, come on.
Let's see. This past was what? 35 minutes. So out of the 3, it's the longest so far.
Yeah, just over the first one, wasn't it? And every minute of it was worth it.
Yeah, I don't mind at all that this is. I know folks were expecting when it started, everybody was expecting it to be 45 minutes to near an hour. Well, yeah, see what happens when you go speculate.
Yep.
No, just get lost into the story, and it carries you right through. How long it plays out for me is not a big deal at all. Just tell me the story.
Yeah, I'd rather have it be 35 minutes of a good story than 45 minutes and 10 minutes just be crap filler. And, that makes you now think like this could have been such a great series or such a great story if they wouldn't have filled the rest of it in, with what happens to pretty much all TV programs. Because if this was a regular cable show or had to fit into a time frame because of commercials and marketing, you need to make it 42 minutes. Well, it's only 37, so find 5 minutes to make it, to stretch it out. And now, depending on how they fill that 5 minutes, makes it go from being amazing to like, it's okay.
I
They
think
haven't done it. They haven't done anything that I can think of as filler, even just out of the 3 episodes or chapters.
No.
Everything that they told in those stories had a reason that's going to carry on into the next. We just don't know what that is till we get it. But yeah, there's no filler stuff in this.
I think the second chapter, like that, if that had been, that was what, half an hour, and if they'd have gone to 35 minutes, I think they would have been filler. But that was so tightly put together that I mean, I think it's been said before, and I said it on my review episode, that it was the first kind of 15 minutes is a silent movie almost, and it worked. But if it had gone on any longer, it would have been a drag. And then everything we got after that, when he's going, everything up until the end of the Sandcrawler sequence was just so perfectly put together, and then everything afterwards was so perfectly put together. And if they'd have filled it out anyway, like, you'd have been bored, because both ends of it, were so, it had to be tightly packed, and in episode 1 and episode 3, just everything, like the like one of that, the storming of the facility. I don't know if I don't want to go too spoilery, but the storming of the facility in episode 3, like, that was so well put together. But you've seen very similar sequences in films and TV where it's gone on way too long or way too short, but they've absolutely nailed it. And then the final sequence again, like, that came out of nowhere. And I think, if they'd have gone on again too long, it would have just been dull, because, it's something that we've seen before, but we haven't seen it in this way. But then it becomes too much like seeing it in the other thing. And no, like, whoever, I've not really been able to check out who does the editing and stuff, but they're earning the pay. They really are on these episodes.
This is what Lucasfilm does. This is what it's what they've always done. This is them.
Oh yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, Deborah Chow can direct anything in Star Wars.
I'm pretty sure that 2/3 of fandom's feeling that same way.
Oh yes.
And I can't even go and I know we still got 5 more chapters of this yet to come. But I can't even go and wonder if I would want to even attempt to try to compare this to maybe what's next, Cassian. Is that going to be, I think they're going to go and do that in a whole other different way from how they're doing this. We're going to see something totally brand new yet again.
I think this is where they could have really, and why I wish that the standalone films could have carried on. But I suppose at this point now, what they would have done as standalone films is now being done on Disney Plus, so they can expand it. But you had we had Rogue One. It was a war film in Star Wars. Solo is Ocean's 11 in Star Wars. Whatever the Boba Fett movie, whatever that could have been, would have been like a different genre, but Star Wars. And I think that is the key to making these. And I mean, they'll be doing it on these Disney Plus series, I'm sure. Like, Mandalorian's a Western, but it's like a Western / samurai movie in Star Wars. And we saw it in Clone Wars. You have the Zillo Beast arc, which was essentially a Godzilla movie in Star Wars. And bringing in different genres but giving it the Star Wars twist, I think, is where the franchise really would keep the franchise going when they're not doing like a trilogy, or like the Skywalker saga, or doing the next trilogy. So kind of, because we don't know what it's going to be, even though I really think we're going to get a Skywalker saga trilogy, but it's not going to be Skywalker saga. But yeah.
Oh, you should see
Right.
these four. You should see these four in the chat room just carrying on. This is great.
Yeah, they were talking about Audible books, and yeah, I did. So when I started Audible, sometime the beginning of last year, I've done every canon book that there is. So it's like 35 or 40 books in the last year and a half, year and a little longer than that. It's because Audible, because you put them on, and like same with my walking my dogs for a couple hours each day, or an hour to 2 hours, taking them out or whatever it is, and you have in a week or 2 weeks you have the book done, riding the train back and forth, plus your podcasts. Like someone said you can buy extra credits, or buy 3 credits at a time instead of buying the book. You buy the credits, and if you do it right, that can be a lot cheaper. The other thing, I have a subscription, so every month I get 2 credits. When I first started, I wasn't listening to as many podcasts, so I was going through a lot more of the audiobook. That's what I did. I think I did 30 last year, 30 books last year, and then I did whatever the rest of them is, plus whatever came out so far this year. And it's just now I have them saved up, but I can then go to do some of the shorter kids books, or some of the other Star Wars books that are maybe not necessarily the novels, but I have a bunch of other ones in my wish list that are $15 or $20, but they're only 3.5 hours long. And it's like, do I want to spend $20 for a 3-hour book or whatever, when it's not really canon, it's not novel, it's the philosophy of Star Wars or whatever it is? It's like, well, I spent $9 for the credit, so it doesn't really matter. I got the credits saved up. So yeah, but that's a lot of the books I have on my bookshelf, like the Taoism or the Dharma of Star Wars, things like that, the philosophy of Star Wars. They're on my shelf because I bought them because I was going to read them, and then remembered I don't read, so they just go to Audible anyways. Like I got the R2D2 book that I think came out recently, and I probably will not read it. I'll probably wait till it goes on Audible and get it, but it was $9, and I actually got 2 copies of it, because in New York City, Amazon there's Amazon distributors, so to get them to the same day or that day, they use really on your doorstep. Well, living in New York City, where they don't even ring my doorbell, they just leave it on the porch and just walk away. So anybody walking down the street, it's like, could just stop and pick it up. It's not even like you have to go anywhere to steal it. So I called them and I was like, listen, it's not here, and I don't know where it is. And they said, okay, we're going to send you a new one. They sent me one from UPS, and I got the one from UPS. And then the next day, the one that never showed up that they said was delivered showed up. So 2 days later, it showed up. I don't know how that happened or what it was. Somebody marked it delivered, didn't deliver them, went home, and then went back out 2 days later and delivered whatever it was. So now I have a book to give to somebody.
That's when I go do stuff like that. Since I live in an older, much older apartment building that's got like 13 or 14 other apartments aside of me, if I go get a book, like I just got the Galactic Atlas from 2016 for pretty cheap. I have it sent to my work because I don't trust having it sent and set out front till I get to work, because other folks have had things delivered and taken by other tenants. So I'm not taking that chance. So I just have it sent to my work where I know I'm going to get it.
I'm the same. I've got to get it sent to work.
Safer
I
that way.
I get like because I get the books sent to me by publishers for review.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Yeah, you were asking about how to go and do that.
Yeah,
and that's how some of our other podcast friends went and got them. Is if you go and do reviews, they'll hook you right up.
Oh, they do.
There you go.
And I've had like 3 not turn up here. And 2 of those were like that Black Spire and Dooku not turn up. And so I got in touch with them. I was like, not long before Resistance Reborn came out, and I'm like, look, I'm really sorry if I've done something wrong. And they said, oh, no. Have you not got them? No. And so, now to go straight to my work, and oh, look, all of the parcels have arrived. But I live in a, they either put it over my fence or through the letterbox, and I just think our postman's a bit dodgy. But it's only my stuff that doesn't get delivered. Granted, my wife gets so many deliveries that I think it looks suspicious if she didn't get them.
Well, let's see here. What else?
The new pop-up book. Yes, I have the new pop-up book. I actually, it's in my pile of books that I am going through, that I need to get rid of my pile of stuff, and that I have signed by the author. At Celebration, they were doing when they did a panel about the pop-up book, and they had a Game of Thrones pop-up book that was there, that once you open it up, it has 6 or 7 of the kingdoms or whatever it is. So I got that from my girlfriend, and now I have the Star Wars one that matches it. And it's been since I'm a little bit behind. It's been since New York Comic-Con that I've had it signed, ready to go. I just haven't gotten to the book bag because, I found a book that was from before last Christmas. The last time we were opening some books up last week. So
that's that newest pop-up book from Matthew Reinhardt, right?
Yeah.
Big, thick one.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my girls were down Barnes and Noble last weekend, and I saw the Galaxy's Edge cookbook. That's a book. I want that book. But I saw the pop-up book, and you laid out some money for that.
How much is the pop-up book going for?
Barnes and Noble?
At Barnes and Nobles, because it's down to
$80.
It's down to $44 on Amazon.
Wow. They really want to move it then.
Because I paid full price for it, so I could get it signed. And then I'm contemplating, because it's signed, if I want to even open this one up, or just go ahead and buy, if I'm going to have one to open up, so like I can show people or do things with it or whatever it is. Do I really want to do it with a signed copy from the author? Because then when I open it up and something rips, even though I'm never going to sell the book, it doesn't really matter what the monetary value is. In my head, it's going to be, a piece of crap and be worthless then. So maybe that should be, ask for, try and figure out how to get that for a Christmas present or something. But I mean, the prices already went down from that much to 44. So who knows? Maybe we'll find it for $30 on an Amazon drop sale or Black Friday or after Christmas or whatever. I'm not buying myself any gifts for Christmas.
Nope.
I have
me
enough.
neither.
I have enough presents to open. So if there's a, Anthony, Johnny doesn't really know.
No, I was going to say I know exactly what he's talking about from last week's stream. You can fill him in a little bit.
I can't right now.
Oh,
Um,
that can be something
Yeah.
DM'd in the Twitterverse later. Yeah, it's a funny story, Johnny. You'll like it. I think
but
after we're done, well, go ahead.
I have a new bookcase coming.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Rez just said in the chat he thinks you already got it set up. He was asking for photographs of.
Oh no, I just ordered it. It's
Okay.
coming. I have a new bed coming this week, and then I have a bookcase to match it coming the first week in December, I think. I think it's scheduled from December 4th to 7th.
Yeah, I saw you
So-
posted that up that you wanted a new bed to come along with matching your new bookcase.
Yep. So
I need a
Yeah, I
book.
think-
So that will make things a lot easier, just because like my books aren't even properly put together, because it wasn't a cheap bookcase, but it's weighted at like 25 pounds or 30 pounds. So you put a couple books on there and they start to bend.
Mhm.
This one I think is 75 pounds for the bookshelf. So if I wanted to put all of the encyclopedias going across it, that's not a problem. It's when you get these ones from Target that are, a third of the price, that hold a third of the weight.
Pressed particle board with printed wood paper, shelving paper. Yeah, that's what is that?
But I'm actually quite impressed on how the lack of sag there is on those. But yeah, so I'll be able to get the books. Get the books, at least start going through them more, and then once that comes in, be able to put them up and arrange them in a better, proper order, which will give me some more room for get some of my other toys shelved properly. Well, just not piled on top of the bookcase, just on the shelves. But
So this new bookshelf coming, is it 5 shelf, 6 shelf, 4 shelf?
Whole wall.
maybe 7.
Whoa,
Maybe
there
7.
you go. All right.
It's 84 inches high and 36.
7 foot tall.
Yep. It's taller than me.
Taller than me, and I'm 6'1".
Me too. Oh no, 5'10".
As English lads tend to be.
Yeah. Although my brother-in-law's got you both there, you guys are hobbits compared to him.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think after we're done here, I'm going to go take a look in that Google machine over at Amazon and see if I maybe can't find Galaxy's Edge cookbook's been out for a little bit, and maybe see if I can't find that for less than $31 they was asking for. And incidentally, if anybody's interested in the recipes and whatnot, Holly Fry from Full of Sith has been doing, what's her hashtag? Galaxy's Edge Gourmet. She's making a lot of those recipes and then sharing things in the Twitterverse. So go give her a follow. She's put up some really interesting stuff that she's doing.
Oh, she has a separate one just for that?
It's on her handle, Surliest Girl, but it's under the hashtag she made called Galaxy's Edge Gourmet. You hunt that hashtag up, and that's solely her and everything that she's going and making from those recipes and then sharing with folks. I figured she would want to be into that because she just went on and on and on about her couple trips. I still think she's the only podcaster, the only Star Wars podcaster that's been to both Galaxy's Edge. Still yet. Everybody else that's either east has been to it or out west has been to it. She's the only one that's been to both. She talked all about the food and stuff in there, and then she couldn't wait to get a hold of this cookbook. And she's doing what I was hoping she was going to go and do. That's why I want to get a hold of it. Because then maybe there'll be some Saturday mornings where there ain't going to be biscuits and gravy for breakfast. Maybe it's going to be a Ronto morning wrap.
That will just no one will know what to do then. But it's $25.99 right now on Amazon. And if you buy 2, you get a third one for free. So you got to find somebody else that wants one and split it with them.
Well, when we found it, me and my girls, when we were down there, they took a liking to that pop-up book until they looked at me, seeing me looking at the Galaxy's Edge cookbook. And then they both immediately took an interest in that, especially my youngest girl, because it's got Ray's polystarch bread in there, and they want to make that in the worst way. So maybe if I go do 3, that might be additional Christmas presents for them both. They'll each have one. Might go ahead and do that.
I've just found a Galaxy's Edge cookbook on Amazon UK, and I think I might be able to make the Rings of Hadullah without buying the book because they've got it on one of the preview screens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I found a PDF of that I already have saved in my downloads folder. There's a couple, 2 or 3 that folks took really good screenshots of. And I just went and kind of screenshotted them and saved them. And that Rings of Hadullah is one. That sounds so good.
And they've also got the polystarch portion bread.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to make that. I work in a kitchen. I might just get them to make some of this for me.
Yeah, Charles in the chat. Yeah, he says his wife was asking about Ronto wraps today. You hunt up that PDF of that really good-looking screenshot that somebody took. I have actually already made a couple using that, and they are delicious.
Oh, I want to go so bad.
I just wanted the food. I don't know if I'll ever get to make it down there yet. Not for a ways for me yet.
I might go when on Celebration. I've not got I've not got a Saturday ticket, so I've got a few hours free.
And it happens to conveniently be very nearby.
What a shocker!
What a coincidence.
and Johnny, if you're able to get a media badge,
yes,
you then have your other 3 tickets that you bought that you can sell.
That'll pay
and not be a scumbag and just sell them at face value to somebody that needs them. And now you got your money for Disney for that. Well, I mean, to buy your ticket to go to Disney, not for Disney, because that's Disney is another $1,000 by the time you get your ticket. By the time you get your ticket, I mean, if you just want to get your ticket, it's $150 or whatever it is. Yeah. But if you want to try any of the food there, that's $20-$30. Ronto wraps are $18 or $19, and you're probably not going to be full off of that. It's $12 for a blue milk if you want to try that. And that that doesn't include if you want food on that you want to fill up on, or depending on what you're going to do. If you're going to buy any souvenirs, if you want to get a robot or
hard goods, soft goods,
a lightsaber, anything else that you want to bring, and then especially for you got to ship it back to England, so you got to figure there's an extra. If you get a robot or a lightsaber, like with me, I can ship it back for really cheap.
Yeah.
I just have to buy another bookcase then for that.
Would you have room for another bookcase there, Michael? After the space you've already allocated for the first, do you have room for another one?
Huh?
You said you'd have to get another bookcase. So would you have room for a second? Not counting the space you've already allocated for the first? You got room for another one?
Oh no, I'm rearranging the room to fit this one in.
Okay.
How tall are your ceilings?
Oh, they're 9 feet, I think. I can't touch them.
You could get like a half one up there and a little ladder.
The space I have to put it in though, it's only 44 inches wide. I looked. I tried to get a 9 foot 44 inch wide one, and there was nothing that I could find.
No, you'd
yeah,
surely need
no,
a step ladder for that.
That's all right. That's where the good that's where the good toys go that never get touched.
Wow, Charles was saying 2 Ronto wraps today, $30. That's what I figured they were around. They were pretty close to more like 14, 15, because when Brittany Brown went, she was kind of doing short little live streams, and I happened to catch up with her even while I was at work, and she was saying how she was at Ronto Wrappers, and I asked her what the price was, and at the time she was there, and that was after, I want to say July. I asked her, I said, how exactly expensive is one of those? And she said it was like just over $12, but I'm pretty sure they've raised a couple prices there by now.
They probably did that, right around the time it became open for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah. So, I mean, if you want to build, it depends on, what I want to do and what I'm going to be able to afford to do are 2 different things, possibly, depending on, how things work out in life. But it's $150 for the ticket, unless they give us some kind of special or discount. And
the lightsaber.
200, so another $100 for food, 200 for the lightsaber, 200 for a robot. That's 600 right there, and that's without even buying any T-shirts or anything for anybody else.
Get everyone else.
Yeah,
We could look when the kid's old enough. We're going to go to the European one. Be fine. But when they open Galaxy's Edge in France, it's only going to be like half the size of the US ones. And they're not even,
Wow!
And they're not even going to have the Falcon ride. It's just.
Are they opening a Galaxy? They're doing one in France.
Yeah, they've bought like the land, and they're basically half of the land is going to be Star Wars, and the other half is going to be Marvel, because there's no rights issues to have a Marvel theme park over here on this side of the world for some reason.
That, and I'm guessing wherever they're building it at, that they likely got having similar issues to what Anaheim does, because there's a whole city around that, so they can't expand out like they can in Florida, where there's just all they got to do is landfill in some of the Everglades, and then boom, there's some more new acreage to expand in the park on. Where I'm not sure what it looks like for France, but I'm expecting there's other city stuff.
It's not directly in the city. From what I remember, I mean, it's been a few years since I went, but from what I remember, it was a bit of a drive outside of Paris. You kind of like, why are you only giving us half of the experience?
Yeah. Why?
Oh, but they've already done that in the States, and they gave you half the experience as well.
This is true, and people were happy to go and do it. So, you save yourself $4,000, and you go to France, or you come get the full experience. You're going to be here. You might as well get the full experience.
That's what I was thinking anyway. Like, I'm down the road, up across the road. I may as well just run in and have a look.
Mm-hmm.
I'll not do anything else. I'm just going straight to Galaxy's Edge, because I'm pretty sure if I don't, I might get in trouble.
And even just that, go just for the experience. Even if you don't end up with any bit of merchandise. Just go to be able to say, I stood in front of this. I saw Doc Ondar. He was in front of me. I was underneath the mandibles of the Millennium Falcon. Just to say, yeah, and a million selfies, and I'll live vicariously through you being there.
Oh yes, I think if when I go, I mean, when I go, it'll be a case of I'm just going to go and experience it, because with it opening up, just over the channel, essentially, it's a train journey. You can like hop on a train to drive down to London, hop on a train. We get the train straight there. Book a couple of days in Disneyland over in Paris. Have one day for the family to go and do what they want to do, and then one day for me. It'll be easier than shipping anything. Well, we just buy a lightsaber, chuck it in the car on the way back.
I'd likely be the only one if I. Go ahead, Mike.
It's hard enough for people to get reservations normally just to get into the cantina or make a robot or make a lightsaber or whatever. What's it going to be when every single person wants to do it? That's going to be there on that week for celebration. So I probably won't be able to get in, even if I want to and have the money allocated to spend. I've never wanted a lightsaber before, but I'm there. It's like, I just think I wanted one because I'm there. It just makes sense. Why wouldn't I want one or get one?
See, I was going to say, I'd likely be the only one. I wouldn't want a lightsaber. Give me a blaster.
Yeah. Can we get those there?
No.
Typical.
That probably likely comes from my Stormtrooper days because I had an E11 and it's a badass weapon. I want one back again.
Oh, you not got it then. See you, Charles, buddy.
Charles, you're leaving? All right. I think we're going to be going here shortly soon also because I got some stuff I got to take care of today.
I'll be going to bed soon.
Yeah, it's coming close to midnight there for you, bud.
Yeah, well, hey, when I had you on my show, we were still going at this point anyway, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, so I will be, for anybody that's left on here and cares, at some point, either tonight or tomorrow, getting back on the Fallen Order.
How
Johnny,
far?
I'm not far at all. The first day I played for 2.5 hours, maybe even longer, and my controller didn't work. I was trying to use the joystick on the controller with the keyboard. So people were trying to talk me through, give me their fixes on how to do it, so nothing was working. My sound wasn't working right. I didn't have the OBS set up properly. And then I went to go do it later on. And, I bought a new Xbox when it came out. Not the new Xbox, like when Xbox was new. So back in, it would have been 2000 or 2001. When they were still newer and they were the thing you wanted. That is the last time I bought anything or did any gaming. So I'm still, I'm way behind. I had some people in there that I know from a Discord community that I'm in, that a friend of mine runs for Funko Pops. And most of them are younger kids or gamers, whatever. And they're like, oh no, they've never played the game, but they're telling me what to do, how to play. So, that was lucky. That was good because otherwise I kept trying to jump up when you're on the fence and you have to jump across the other fence. I just wasn't going up high enough or whatever, and I was hitting stuff, and that's in the first 5 minutes of the game. So the way they have it done, some people have them marked on there, like that stream them to whatever point they were, or however it is. Like the first, like mine says session 1. Well, if you watch my session 1, it's me running around in circles for 2 hours. My session 2 is me almost figuring that out and whatever. So now it's like session 3. I don't know. Session 3 could be 25 minutes or a half hour. Session 3 could be 3 hours. I don't have it set up where, like, like I was telling Anthony, I should just do a run through of it and record it. Just record my entire time, my entire run through. If it takes me a day or two, because I don't really have to fight anybody or do anything, and then post that up on YouTube to get my views and my clicks. And I was like, but then when I go back to playing it, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
So, and now I don't know. It's just, if I would have done it that way the first day, maybe, because then I would have had, 500,000 clicks, or I don't even know how many views the top the top gamers have. So first I have to hit the algorithm to even show up or whatever on somebody's search. But it's not. If I would have, because it came out at 9:00 at night over here.
Yeah.
I
had to wait
Well,
till midnight.
Dale's
But I
got to
didn't
go
get
and bow out. Charles from Congresswation's got to bow out. And Galactic Pops just jumped back in.
Oh, hey, Galactic Pops, how are you doing? I was
Hello
just talking about you. Oh, he's trying to get banned. He said that I collect pops.
Because everybody knows Michael does not.
I do not collect pops. I have a few Star Wars pops.
Very well, Michael, with a
38.
winky face.
38.
I can't. I've got about 100 or so Star Wars ones.
It's just like
You aim
if
you aim
the
into
day that it came out, if I would have
Cruiser?
just ran. No, not at all.
No, Johnny. If you're wondering if he's aiming to rival Luke Cruiser.
He's probably got a few more of the newer ones than I do. I've only got a handful from Last
He's
Jedi.
got about 250 of them.
Like, I would
Yeah,
love
mine
to.
are.
Go on, Michael.
Mine are mostly. Mine's pretty much the opposite. I don't have anything old. It's all newer stuff, or it's when I went last, not this past New York Comic Con, but the Comic Con before, I was with some people that were collectors and podcasters that collect, and I was like, oh, okay, and I was gonna buy a couple things there. Like, don't buy them there, buy them afterwards. And then I went on eBay and picked up a couple that I liked, and that was it. And then picked up another one here or there, and then got a couple Funkos that I liked, and that's about it.
He's saying he owns over 342. I'd call that a collection and then a collector.
That's a good collection. I remember when I went to Celebration Europe in 2016. Like, the first thing I did as soon as I was in the door was bolted to the Funko shop to get the exclusives, because I thought, no, you'll be fine. I was like, I had it all planned out. I was going to get there, buy those, then go to the Ahsoka panel, and I didn't anticipate how long the queue was going to be, but luckily I made it to the panel just in time. But those were some nice exclusives for that one. That was a full-on celebration, like the Yavin celebration, Han and Luke, and Empire Strikes Back handless Luke. And I was happy to get those and then deposit them with my wife, because she was in the food court waiting for me.
Yeah, it's crazy when you go to the cons and what they have and how they have it set up for, the lotteries to get in, and then you still have to wait 6 hours to buy your Funko Pop, and it's like you either really need to want one really bad, or you're just doing it to sell them.
We didn't have a lot then. It was just get there and get them. I think lotteries were only introduced not this celebration, the one before, wasn't it?
Well, Chicago was my first celebration.
Right.
So the one before was Orlando.
Anaheim. No, Orlando.
Did they have a lottery for Orlando?
One before Orlando was Anaheim.
No, the one before Orlando was London.
Oh, that's right. No, you're right. 2016, 2015 was Anaheim.
Yeah.
Yep, corrected me.
Well, I was there. I was like, ooh. I was like, I wasn't just dreaming that weekend, was I?
Mr. Rez is bowing out. May the force be with you, buddy.
Mr. Rez, you have a good day. And Johnny, you should check out Galactic Pop's channel. He puts up some videos and whatnot on for Funko Pops.
Nice.
He's got some Star Wars stuff too. Figures and stuff.
I might have to live vicariously through him on his Funkos, because I've run out of room for them, and it's all about the Lego at the minute.
Yeah, he just posted up. He said he put up a picture of his pre-Vizsla figure on his community tab.
There's a pre-Vizsla figure?
You have to take a jump over there and have a look-see.
I'm on my way.
All right, I'm not sure who's still left here in the chat, but fellas, thank you for coming by. Thank you for talking Resistance Reborn with me. Johnny, this is usually how it is. There was a plan on what to talk about, and sometimes we either don't talk about it enough or talk about it way too much. I think today was one of the first ones.
It was there.
We started a little that way. The chat room had a lot of fun. Everybody, they're still posting up that even Mr. Rez said this was just like last week. This is us sitting. Imagine us sitting together in a pub, having some sips and just letting loose with the talk.
Just a couple of guys tipping a couple back at the pub, and
yep.
Sometimes whatever. I was trying to talk about a comic book for 3 weeks or a month, and it took me 3 weeks or a month to remember what it was, because I don't write down show notes and I don't write down anything. So when I go to, I have an idea what I have, what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to do. Well, yeah, but at least sometimes you pause your show at least.
I record segments as I drive.
Mm-hmm.
It's my route to work. And then from work to other work, where I can 10 minutes. All right, I've got 10 minutes. Right, I'll talk about Resistance or whatever. Just so I don't,
Whatever thoughts happen to be for a segment off the top of your head, and then you just tack the segments together. Yeah, I love that. And you went and taught Doug Brooks, that does Radio Dakar. He's been making some of his stuff during different commutes in his car the same way you do. Yeah, I love stuff like that. It doesn't have to be all crisp and clean if there's background noises. No, I like the reality of it. I love that.
And
everybody has their own thing on how they want it to be, and sound and professional. And I don't think mine's ever gonna win any podcast awards if I start doing a podcast, or YouTube awards.
That's not your aim.
No, we had Charlie Skywalker was on here cooking dinner the other day.
Mm-hmm.
He was on here talking, and he kept moving his camera around while he was cooking dinner. You could hear him cooking and whatever he was making burgers or whatever, they were sizzling, and it's like, okay, that's like that's I'm sitting here talking with my friends, and that's what we're talking Star Wars about, and I'll post it up on YouTube and get some views and some clicks, and maybe someday I'll get to my 1,000 subscribers, so that's what my goal is to hit my 1,000 subscribers. Not to monetize, because you need a ton of view time for that, which it's like impossible to get unless whatever. And so that when I go to Celebration, I can live stream mobily.
Yeah.
And they don't let you do it with a camera or a phone. YouTube has that blocked for whatever. They know that you're using a camera or a phone. And you can't walk around with a laptop doing it. It just doesn't work. It's not feasible to do. So, my whole thing is like, Anthony's not going to be able to go. And if I'm walking down and I have my camera and I'm walking down talking to people, and it's the same thing as this, not all professional camera and everything. It's just me walking down talking to people. And he says, "Oh, go back. I want to see what that looks like." I can turn around and go take a look at it.
Yeah.
And, it's so that people that can't be there, it's as close as they can be.
See, somebody did that last year when I took the vacation before it was on the first day, the merchandise day, where there weren't any panels or anything. I did catch somebody on their own channel that was doing that had like the cam set up in front of them, and they were just with the mic in, and they were talking as they were going. And when they passed something, they were asking folks in the live stream, "Was there something you saw that you want me to go?" And I followed them along for like 2.5, 3 hours. Their stream was, and that was so much fun. That was so much fun. Yeah.
You posted about it. I think I jumped on for a little bit.
Yeah, they had a live chat and everything going. It was what Michael's
I don't know of anyone that's done it yet. I'm sure there's someone that has, but that's what my intention is. And then depending on who I'm around and what I can get away with later on, maybe posting some other things or going to Galaxy's Edge where it's all Star Wars people there and live streaming from there. People do live streams or tape and then put it on there, but no one does it like where it's interactive and, hey, go check out this and go check out that, and
yeah, they crashed the Falcon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have everything on there, but obviously, if I'm there,
I see you pass like John and Ross from Beyond the Outer Rim. I'm gonna be like, Michael, turn around, go back here and talk to them boys.
Well, I kind of sputtered out. I was doing pretty good, and then I was up to 399 the other day, and I've been stuck at 497 for 2 or 3 days now.
Yeah, I gotta get out there and push that around again some more. We got
nobody
9
wants
months.
to.
We got 9 months.
Hello.
Well, through this coming week, I'll go put some more reminders. I still saved that original tweet that you put up. All I got to do is quote tweet it and pass it around, ask other friends to pass it around, and hope that they go and do that. We'll get some more friends.
And I'll be so. I have a couple of. I have some Funko Pops to give away, or Black Series to give away when I hit 400. And then when I hit 400, then when I hit 500, I have some more stuff to give away. Now they sent me 2 of that book, I'm pretty sure. So, I throw a book in there and, I don't want to spend money to get there. But if it's stuff that I already, I bought a couple Funkos for friends when I could, you couldn't find them, and I found them, and then people were like, okay, yeah, get it for me, and I got them, and then all of a sudden you could find them everywhere, and the price, and I was like, oh, maybe I should put them on eBay, and the price went from, $40 or $50 down to $20, and I paid $12 for it, and by the time I ship it, it's just like, I'll give them away. I got them here. Somebody will get it, whether it's a present or whatever it is. But all right.
Well, I would say this was fun tonight, gentlemen.
Oh,
It was
definitely.
it was a good time. So
Mhm.
Johnny, really quick, tell anybody that's watching right now how to find you.
You can find me at mystarslife.tk. It's a Star Wars blog and podcast. Talking about just about anything that I can think of to talk or write about when it comes to Star Wars. I think tomorrow or today, like the next post that's coming out, is one that I really loved writing it, and it's about my thoughts on what really caused Padme's death.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm looking forward
I'm
to
just going to
that.
double check. Yes,
Mhm.
yeah, it's called Speculation: The True Cause of Padme's Death. Comes out tomorrow, and it all kind of ties in with the Freddie Prinze Jr. rant as well. He said a few things that got me thinking when I was watching Revenge of the Sith. So that was a pretty. That's one that I really enjoyed writing. So I mean, not that I don't enjoy writing more, but that's like a hefty one that took a bit of time. And yeah, like I talk about that. I do book reviews, Lego reviews. I'm currently doing a write through of Jedi Fallen Order, and of course doing the podcast where I'm talking about just about anything and everything, with special Mando episodes as well, so you can avoid those if you want to avoid spoilers. And that's all at mystarslife.tk.
I avoid nothing. Give me them spoilers.
I kind of just I've given up. I wanted to go spoiler free, and then I don't know. I just ended up going for it, and it was.
Let's see, Michael. We still got you in the audio because I don't see your video. I think we lost Michael straight out in the way.
Oh.
So that makes me wonder. Well, my YouTube's not up. I'll try and go and give it a refresh. The chat room was going just fine,
Yeah.
but the video end of it just totally froze on me. But the chat was still going, so I just left it alone because I'm watching through StreamYard.
So am I.
So I think we might be closing this out if he's not coming back.
Wow.
So, all right, that's where you're found.
Yeah.
I'm most easily found in that Twitterverse. Yeah, I got a Facebook thing, but I never got no use for it. And folks already knows they can find me at a.ruralfarmboy in that Twitterverse, or shoot me emails at ruralfarmboy@gmail.com, or hit me with DMs. We'll talk some Star Wars.
So there we go.
And there we go. Yes.
Hey, I did a live stream.
No, we're still streaming. The stream is up on YouTube. We're still rolling.
Yeah.
So there we go. And I think he's going to go and do another live stream, his regular normal one, at 8:30 our time, which would be probably just in the beginnings of your bedtime.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's
You know
already.
what? I might just whack it on the TV and just fall asleep to it. If I can, that's the thing.
He's been known for doing longer. We're already at 2 hours and 43 minutes. Wow. Alrighty, bud, we'll wrap you up over there. I'm gonna go put my lunch together for work tomorrow morning and take a look at what I got left in my playlist for this evening. I still got a few shows to knock down yet. And then probably, well, since we talked about Rogue One some, I think that's what I'm gonna put on, and I'm gonna end up falling asleep too.
I don't put the movies on to go to sleep, or else I won't sleep. So I'm just going to whack on some Futurama. So I've just got it on Amazon Prime.
Something that you wouldn't mind falling asleep to. I got you.
Yeah, I can just go back if I want to.
Alrighty, bud. Well, I'll keep up with you in that Twitterverse through the week, and be looking for your next My Star Wars Life, that podcast, when it shows up in my playlist.
Have you had Mando Chapter 3 yet?
Yesterday I did. Right in the middle of the day.
Yeah, look forward to hearing my email on Jam Transmissions. It's a little bit long.
Did
Well,
you
it's on the
do
next
you already
episode.
do you already give a listen to episode 52?
Don't
That was the most recent
think
one.
so. No, I've not listened to that one just yet. That's on for tomorrow morning.
Oh, then you don't feel bad about sending a long email, because Rick Villanueva sent one that was, it's got to be 6 minutes long.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, I don't feel so
Yeah,
bad then.
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, Rick went on just like he was on the show with them, and I thought, and then when he got to the end, I'm like, oh wait, no, that was a voicemail. Wow. All right, so now I don't feel so bad for sending something that's a little bit long. And yeah, whatever other topics you got coming up that maybe you want to talk about, yeah, tag me in there. Hit me with a DM and say, this is what I got in mind, and maybe send me your thoughts on, and I'll hit you one back.
Excellent. Will do, buddy.
Alrighty, bud. So you're getting ready for bed,
Um,
and I'm gonna go do lunch and tag up Michael next time, because he'll come. Well, depending on what day of the week he wants to do, he always wants to have. He can have up to like 6 people in here all together on a screen.
You know, as long as it's not a Tuesday night, I'm pretty free.
Alrighty, keep that in mind.
Yep.
And maybe we'll do this again together. This was fun.
I'm looking forward to doing it again. If he'll have me, of course.
Of course. Well, he had you the first time. He had it in mind to come get you.
We've been trying for a couple of weeks, but like you said, I couldn't. I haven't finished the book yet. I was halfway through, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm looking forward. No, you do it. You got dad duties and other things to go on with too. I'm probably the only one out of a whole mess of us. Like, I talked with Pete and Josh last night, and we went on was over at least definitely an hour and a half, maybe coming up on 2 hours. And it was Star Wars Resistance Reborn too. And we just went on off and on so many different things. That's
the great thing about this, the tangents.
Yeah. That, and it's because it's not something we can do regular or often. Just like if you ever want to have chit chat just between you and me, hit me on that Skype.
Hey, definitely.
Or on the Anchor app, we just don't have to hit record.
Yeah, true.
I thought about that the other day. I thought, holy shit, that's a way we could talk without having to do a show. There, he's coming back. There he is. Let him get his headphones on. There you are, bud. Lost you.
Welcome back.
I think he's still jumping in. Hearing us yet, Michael?
Hello.
Yep.
Hey.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, I saw your video go out, and I thought, oh crap, we're gonna have to close this out without him. So I'm glad we just kind of piddled around long enough.
I have no idea what happened or what was said, but I'm hoping that you guys left it in good hands. So,
of course.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to hit that X button and be off and away. And then I seen the black screen on your side with a little swirly that it was loading, and I thought, all right, he's back. Back in time to end it.
That's all I did. I came in here to say goodbye to you guys. I didn't want to leave you hanging.
Well, let's hope at some point in the future here we can get us and maybe a couple other friends, maybe have 5 of us in here together, see how that plays out, and what all we got to talk about.
That's the whole thing, and the most we've ever had is 3. We can do up to 5 or 6. Actually, you can do up to 10, but you can only have 6 talking at one time.
Huh.
So like you could say, okay, fine, and everybody, everybody, okay, here's the question, then everybody gets to go and answer, and go down the line like that, and something along those lines. But yeah, that's we'll see. And then Johnny, if for some reason you're up late tomorrow night,
Oddly enough, normally on a Monday I am. Normally Monday nights are my worst nights for sleeping, so I might be around.
We'll see how it plays out then.
well, I go on about 8:30.
That's about 12:30, 1:30 my time.
Yeah.
We'll
So,
see how that
if you're-
plays out.
I mean, the other night when I recorded with Pappas, we didn't start recording until 2:30, 2 or 2:30. That's by the time I got home from work, and whatever he was doing, and it was just okay, give me a couple minutes. Okay, give me a couple minutes. Okay, give me a couple minutes. Us going back and forth because the plan was 12 o'clock, and then I got home late, so I had to do whatever. So that put my time frame off. He had to, he had to be up for work at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was 3:30. We were still talking, but
Wow.
hey,
That's nothing.
yeah,
That's how he ended up being late for recording with Johny and Hawes, because he was having technical issues, and then he was having family issues. And by the time he got it all ironed out, it was like 45 minutes, and them two had already been into the show. Still wait, they didn't got tired of waiting on him. Johny Grasso spelled it all out, how it played out, and I just thought, that sounds like Mike. He just needs to slow his ass down a little bit and put one thing at a time. Because do I sound like I describe him like? Is Pappas like a multitasker? Is he like always wanting to do? He gets in his own way. That's what, and it's funny. It's take it easy, buddy. One thing at a time, and then you can get all the things done that you want. He'll learn that one day. He's still a youngin' yet.
Yeah.
boom.
Alrighty, boys. RFB's off. I got to go fix up lunch for work tomorrow, and then there's some serious sipping to be done because that ain't happened yet, and it's coming.
Liver and onions tomorrow.
No, actually, it's fried sweet potatoes and onions with ham.
All right.
I got beef stew and mash coming my way tomorrow morning, so I'm looking forward to that.
I have no idea.
And I'm going to argue with myself whether to pick up my playlist or spend the part of the day listening to Force Collector.
Force Collector. Then we can talk about it tomorrow night.
Alrighty, you got it.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Yes, sir. Yins too.
Hey, buddy.
See you on the radio.
See you around on that Twitter. Do I just close it?
Yeah. That's all you gotta do.
All right, then. Great. See you around, buddy.
Have a good one, Johnny. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I don't like this camera. That's a little better. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. That was supposed to be our talk and review of Resistance Reborn. We did touch on it a little bit. Not as much as I wanted to or would have liked to, but that just gives us more of an opportunity to talk about it at a later date. But that's what happens here on that Toomedtoo channel when we do our live streams. Friends come and go, friends stop in, and you never really know what's going to happen. Sometimes you talk a little bit too much about one thing and not enough about another. And I say good day. May the force be with you.